So first of all, this video is more or less like a remastered version of the one I did all the way back in April. I just decided that I'd like to bring the topic up again in a more organized manner and shed some new insight on the relationship of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts and how they've influenced each other and might continue down the road. So in this video, we'll be covering this topic up until 3 parts. 1. How Final Fantasy has influenced Kingdom Hearts. 2. How Kingdom Hearts has influenced Final Fantasy. 3. How both series can continue to influence each other down the road. I'll be covering the first and last part, and have my buddy Vash here to take the middle part. So, here we go. Kingdom Hearts started as the miracle baby of Square Enix and Disney. Square Enix originally wanted the protagonist to be Donald Duck, while Disney wanted Mickey Mouse. Series director Tetsuya Nomura, however, wanted an original character and thus drew the chainsaw-wielding, lion-formed version of Sora that we know of. Now, before Sora was created, it's quite interesting to think about. Would Final Fantasy characters still have impacted the game like it did back then? Maybe, if you played as Donald, you'd have Final Fantasy characters alongside your team as regular party members. Truth is, I'm not all too sure. It's safe to assume that Final Fantasy's influence on this take of Kingdom Hearts would be drastically different, if not totally obsolete. This being said, again, the reverse is what we got. We got a series that had Disney atmospheres featured as the game's levels, and Square characters featured as the game's supporting roles. However, the Final Fantasy characters are used from time to time within the games as more than just supporting roles. They range from showing you different approaches of battling to secret bosses and etc. Over the years, they have de-evolved into making just small, overall pointless cameos. Whenever you'd mention Kingdom Hearts to a friend, you'd probably say it's a mix of Final Fantasy and Disney, and for a while this was rather correct. As Dark Pixel Gaming pointed out in their video, Does Kingdom Hearts Need Final Fantasy?, this is how the series was defined up until around Dream Drop Distance. Over the years, less and less Final Fantasy characters have made appearances in Kingdom Hearts games, spin-offs or not. Final Fantasy has not only impacted Kingdom Hearts' story elements and structure, but the gameplay too. Even though most, if not all, the Final Fantasy games around the time of Kingdom Hearts' production were turn-based, there are still loads of elements from the Final Fantasy series that bleed into Kingdom Hearts. From having spells like Curaga to Firaga implemented into the series to even having summons, like the infamous Bahamut being a planned one for the first game, it's quite obvious that this series takes inspiration from Final Fantasy's terminology of gameplay mechanics, despite being made to rival other big-name gaming platformers.
As much as Final Fantasy played an integral role in the reception of Kingdom Hearts, Square Enix's new title would also bring some changes to their oldest series. After the rise in popularity Kingdom Hearts received post-release, ideas on how newer Final Fantasy titles would change began to surface. Final Fantasy X was the last released game of the series before Kingdom Hearts made its debut, and it was the last major title to keep the turn-based battle system. The next few titles, Final Fantasy XI, XII, and XIII, all saw major changes to this feature, as they tried to be more freeform like Kingdom Hearts. Square Enix observed how the new way to battle in Kingdom Hearts was like a breath of fresh air to fans, especially when comparing to how most RPGs in the 90s and early 2000s were dominated by turn-based battle systems. When you think RPG, you instantly connect to turn-based attacks and the strategy you implement with each fight. In Kingdom Hearts, the battles are always flowing by how you move on a 3D plane and have no restriction on how often you can attack. Although there are similarities such as the use of magic, equipment, and party members, Kingdom Hearts' controls and movement broke the mold on how RPGs were played and brought a higher pace that allowed fans to think critically on the fly when it comes to battle. All these features pile up into how Final Fantasy changed its approach to its future titles, and still carries over to this day. Its most recent title, Final Fantasy XV, carried a lot from what Kingdom Hearts introduced. Even going beyond that, from what we've seen of Final Fantasy VII Remake, we can gather it taking notes and borrowing a similar HUD and the ability to move freely in battle. Another way that Kingdom Hearts influenced the Final Fantasy series was the way fans perceived their characters. Before Kingdom Hearts came out, most of the characters you see never had been showcased this way. You can see iconic characters such as Cloud, Leon, Aerith, Yuffie, Cid, and even Sephiroth in full 3D form for the first time ever. Although many of these characters were seen in a cinematic scene here or there in their original games, those were either pre-rendered or drawn for that specific moment. Kingdom Hearts allowed these characters to be seen in battle and move about on their own freely, giving them more personality with their body language, and it even gave fans their take on how they'd sound. Kingdom Hearts delivered on voice acting for these characters as well. Think about it, the first time you heard Cloud speak, it wasn't even in a Final Fantasy game. Kingdom Hearts really gave fans both new and old a spin on these characters. Even something simple like a name swap could be detrimental to how fans today perceive these iconic characters. Let's be real, how many of you actually went on for years calling Squall Leon? Kingdom Hearts also went ahead and assisted in being the first game to retcon Aerith to Aerith, as it was originally intended. I'd even argue that this was a solid reason as to why the emo stigma over Cloud has stuck for so long. In Final Fantasy VII, he was a soldier, a bit standoffish and apathetic at times. Sure, over the course of the game, his feelings could stir into something a bit more sad and emotional, but this was thoroughly engraved even more so with his adaptation in Kingdom Hearts. The same thing could be said for Squall and his changes in attitude in this game compared to how he was in Final Fantasy VIII. After a year of being out on the market, Kingdom Hearts sold 1 million copies in North America and received the greatest hits title for the PS2. Following the great sales of Kingdom Hearts after its debut, the next few Final Fantasy titles would look to carry the same success. Final Fantasy X-2 and 12 were up next and both received great sales upon their release. Final Fantasy X-2 sold over 4 million copies worldwide and was the best seller in Japan in 2003. Final Fantasy XII sold 1.5 million in North America in its first week, and was the 4th best-selling title for the PlayStation 2 in 2006. Both games also received the greatest hits title as well. The common factor these games have with Kingdom Hearts is the change in battle mechanics. Fans really felt the change brought new life to an old series, and the sales reflected that sentiment. Kingdom Hearts had a lasting impression and even gave Final Fantasy fandom some characters to pull from. Sora as a character became completely tied to all things Square Enix. His request to be added to Dissidia was always present and still carries over even to now with Dissidia NT. He even got featured in a game based on the fandom of the franchise, that being World of Final Fantasy, complete with his own special summon animation and everything. The Kingdom Hearts series really took a big role when it comes to handling the way these characters acted, spoke, and fought. It molded the way fans look at them and really engraved itself into the history of the Final Fantasy timeline.
It's been close to a whole 9 years since Final Fantasy last made a new appearance in the Kingdom Hearts series, while only close to about 2 years since Kingdom Hearts last made an appearance in Final Fantasy. With Kingdom Hearts 3 just a little ways around the corner, it really makes you think and wonder how Kingdom Hearts' origin figure is going to continue to carry the series. Will Final Fantasy just fade from the series as a whole past the Dark Seeker saga? Will it be replaced with other Square Enix IPs every so often? Or even if it should.